Part 74. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 731. I see. So, our King Hua Academy still relies on junior brother Xiao Xian to maintain this trial. The royal platform suddenly seemed like a dream. However, his expression only received a blank stare from others. In this case, shall we go to the land of Dragon Leap now? If my prediction is correct, the broken bones of the heavenly dragon will be there, Chen Meng said suddenly. You also know about Tianlong broken bones, Xiao Xian was shocked. It's natural. Before entering Qinglian Valley, everyone should know that the purpose of this trip to Qingliang Valley is to find the broken bones of Tianlong, Chen Meng said directly. Don't you also know? Xiao Xian suddenly had a black line on his face. If he remembers it well, the system should have told him about Tianlong's broken bones. Before entering Qinglian Valley, no one told him about this matter. How come now, everyone seems to know about it? Senior brother Wang, senior sister Meng, do you also know that Tianlong broken bones? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. I know something. Wang Tai nodded. Long Ruoxiu, you don't know that, right? Xiao Xian couldn't help but look back and glanced at Long Ruoxiu. How would I know? You don't know how I got this quota. Long Ruoxiu looked indifferent. Originally, I came here just to get some training resources. I don't have much thought about things on the level of Tianlong bone broken bones. What's the benefit of Tianlong's shattered bones? Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel a little pain in his balls. At that time, when he chose Shenlong Kung Fu, he was almost certain that he would continue to look for various advanced materials for Shenlong Kung Fu in the future. This Tianlong bone fragment is used as one of the advanced materials. Of course he is bound to win. But now, what makes him helpless is that, looking at this, the entire Qingliang Valley cultivators have probably set the goal of finding the Tianlong bone broken bones. I want to get this Tianlong bone fragment. You must defeat all the trial disciples. This has to be said to be a big challenge. So to say. Junior brother Xiao Xian, are you really planning to snatch the Tianlong bones? Wang Tai also understood what Xiao Xian was thinking, and just continued, if the prediction is correct, this broken bone of the heavenly dragon should be at the place where the dragon leaps. By then, the strong men from each sect should have gathered here. In this case, it must be a challenge for us. But I'm not afraid. Aren't they just some talented people? I have killed countless people like this. Xiao Xian said calmly, if they really want to die, then don't blame me for being rude to them. Instantly, a chilling air lingered. Wang Tai, Meng Xiaoli and others looked at each other, and there was a bit of surprise in their eyes when they looked at Xiao Xian. Talk about it? The time that Xiao Xian came to King Hua College was neither long nor short. As senior brothers and sisters, they discovered a strange thing at this time. They didn't seem to know Xiao Xian that well. This is not an ordinary talented disciple. This is either absolute confidence in one's own strength, or ignorance and arrogance to the extreme. The name of the disciple of Shillong sect is Shicheng. He is a person who has practiced Shillong Kung Fu to the intermediate level. He is covered in stone and is indestructible. His defensive ability is amazing. But if you underestimate his offensive ability, you will definitely suffer a big loss. You are so courageous. How do I say this? It made him somewhat embarrassed. He originally wanted to say that all the inner disciples like Bai Feng were stepped on by him. As for the so-called elites, I have known this before, so you don't need to repeat it. The first three were so powerful by you, and that Wu Sheng was almost blown away by you. Why is it that Mensu is the biggest threat to me? It will give you a challenge. Chen Meng suddenly asked. You know the name of Wu Sheng of the Xianming section. He was born in the Xianming section. He was corroded by the qi of the Xianming since he was a child. He also practices the Xianming Gong and is also a disciple of the old man swimming. He is ruthless and insidious, and he will definitely retaliate. Such no one can afford to offend. Follow the previous rules. Junior brother Xiaoxian. He only knew that among the disciples who participated in the Qinglian Valley trial this time, the strongest Baifeng of Qinghua Academy had died, and the boss of the Xianming land was the holy son Wu Sheng. Are you a little too arrogant? Chen Meng was also a little speechless about Xiaoxian's situation. She couldn't believe that there could be such an arrogant person in Mingzhou territory. In this case, let's set off to the land of Dragon Leap now. Wang Tai, as the eldest disciple here, also said, although we can't guarantee that you can get the broken bones of the dragon from the land of Dragon Leap, we will still fight to the death. Earn a place for you. After Chen Meng mentioned Mensu, he paused, looked at Xiaoxian and said, I think this woman is the biggest threat to you. Even without knowing who the opponent is. As for the Snow Wolf sect, the talented disciple of the sect is a beautiful woman named Mensu. Instead, he received big glares from Chen Meng and Long Ruoxiu. Chen Meng shook his head and said, do you know that among the various sects, the disciples who can enter the Qinglian Valley are all the elites among the elites, but you behave like this? Do you not take these opponents to heart at all? Xiaoxian smiled and said, even if you are an elite, so what? It's not, ahem. He knew nothing about other sects. Only the top disciple in this trial can get something like the heavenly dragon broken bone. Do you know who your competitors are? Xiaoxian really couldn't answer this question for a while. Thank you. Xiaoxian was stunned and thanked him. He finished speaking. Even want to snatch the treasure that the other party is bound to get? That's all. Xiaoxian couldn't help but wonder, is it because she is good looking? I am not an easy person to be fooled. The disciple of the Golden Sword sect is called Ye Kuangdao. He is the direct disciple of the old man Kuangdao. He is very skilled in using a golden-backed broadsword. It is said that he once singled out a third-grade monster and killed it. But seeing Chen Meng Long Ruoxiu's face looking a little embarrassed, she couldn't say what he said next. On the contrary, he seemed to have an inexplicable and powerful kingly aura about him. You could say that. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 732. Because what Mensu is good at is the power of charm. It is said that no man who falls under her spell can resist her. Among them, there are even those in the Kengshen realm. Chen Meng finished speaking. Others also looked at Xiaoxian with interest. Especially Meng Xiaoli and Long Ruoxiu, their eyes seemed to be a little provocative. It seemed as if he didn't believe that Xiaoxian could resist. The power of charm. This is rare, but according to what you said, this Mensu should be pretty good looking and in good shape. If I were, I would definitely be able to resist. Xiaoxian originally wanted to make fun of him. But after seeing Long Ruoxiu's increasingly ugly face, she quickly changed her tune. But in his heart, he was a little unconvinced. To be honest, Long Ruoxiu didn't have much to do with him. Even if he fell into the beauty trap, maybe it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing? Hope so. I have said everything that needs to be said. As for whether you can defeat them or not, it depends on your own ability. As Chen Meng said, he also looked at Xiaoxian meaningfully. However, if you can really get the Tianlong bone broken bones, it will be considered as a fight for our Qinghua College. Even Dean Kanglong will look at you with admiration. Maybe, you might take this opportunity to enter the inner gate. Inner disciple. If this is the case, our Wu Meng lineage really has hope of rising. When Wang Tai heard this, his face was a little moved. For so many years, our Wu Meng lineage has never had an inner disciple, and only the inner disciples can truly be regarded as the core of our Qinghua Academy. All right. Since you have said so, I will reluctantly take back this broken bone of the heavenly dragon. Xiao Xian smiled. Then, he made a gesture to Enda, indicating that he would now lead the way to the land of Dragon Leap. For Xiao Xian, a king. Naturally, Enda had no objections. He nodded and walked at the front, leading Xiao Xian and others into the depths of the jungle. Deep in the jungle. Because of Enda's guidance, Xiao Xian and the others did not encounter any trouble. Whenever there was a powerful monster, Enda would avoid it in advance. Occasionally, Enda would lead a few people to look for some spiritual treasures and herbs. Soon, everyone came to a lake. Standing on the shore, the boundary of the huge lake is almost invisible. Looking towards the center of the lake, there is only a lush island. If expected, that place should be the so-called Longjio land. So to say, the broken bones of Tianlong are on the island in the middle of the lake. Enda, how are we going to get there? Xiao Xian turned around and was about to look for Enda, but saw this guy kneeling on the ground with a plop, his face full of piety. What are you doing? What are you doing kneeling on the ground? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. The land of Dragon Leap is where the ancestors of our savage tribe are. When we see our ancestors, we should kneel down and worship. Enda began to kowtow to the ground. Lie and wipe. Doesn't this mean that I also have to kneel down? Xiao Xian had a headache. He was not the king of some savage tribe, nor did he believe that his ancestors came from this place, nor could he kneel down for no reason. But look at what it looks like now. Does he really want to kneel down? Your Majesty, there is no need to hesitate. You are the hope of the savage tribe. As long as you can enter the Dragon Leap land, you will definitely be able to successfully obtain the heavenly dragon bones, Enda said. Oh, no. You also know about Tianlong broken bones. Xiao Xian suddenly felt as if he had been abandoned by the whole world. Why did the whole world seem to know about the broken bones of Tianlong? Is he the only one who doesn't know? Could it be that he was tricked again? The heavenly dragon broken bones are the treasure of our tribe. They were brought to this place by the old king 3 years ago. I believe that you, Your Majesty, can regain the heavenly dragon broken bones. Enda was very confident in Xiao Xian. I think so. Xiao Xian nodded. However, you should also know that there are many people coming to Longjio land this time, and there are even more powerful people. If you want to get this Tianlong bone broken bone, I am afraid it will take some effort. While talking, there was also some movement near the lake. Soon 2 more teams appeared, one of them wearing grey robes, led by a young man with a solemn face, who was Shi Qing from the Shillong sect. The other team were all wearing gold-rimmed swordsmanship uniforms, and the leader was Ye Guangdao, who was carrying a gold-backed sword, but he was covered in blood. Shillong sect and Golden Blade section. I didn't expect them to come so quickly. Wang Tai frowned. It seems like this is really a bit of a problem. Looking at their appearance, they all have injuries on their bodies. They obviously encountered a lot of trouble in the dense forest. Chen Meng's observation was very detailed. This is a good thing. Our strength can also be closer to them. King Hua Academy is worthy of being an established force. It's really enviable to be able to travel through the dense forests safely. After Ye Guangdao saw Xiao Xian and others, he took a few glances and asked, where is that guy Baifeng? Isn't he your leader this time? Dead, Xiao Xian said expressionlessly. Now, I, Xiao Xian, am the leader of King Hua Academy. Baifeng is dead. Ye Guangdao was startled, and even Shi Qing looked over. Yes, he was beaten to death by the leader of the savage tribe. It is said that he was killed with one blow. It's really amazing. A sinister voice came through. A group of sects wearing black clothes and robes appeared by the lake, and the leader was Wu Sheng of the Xianming sect. At the same time, Xiao Xian also noticed 2 acquaintances. Wang Rolong and Mu Xiaolong. Traitor! You 2 have the nerve to follow people from the Xianming sect. When Wang Tai saw these 2 people, his eyes turned red. Senior brother Wu Sheng, that is the Xiaoxian I told you, that's him, he is the number one in the battle among the freshmen. Wang Ralong was stunned for a moment when he saw Enda behind Xiaoxian, and then gritted his teeth and said, this time, senior brother must help me take revenge. Newborn. The strength of your Qinghua College is really getting weaker and weaker, and you actually let a new student be the leader. Wu Sheng shook his head, his eyes full of disappointment. At the same time, Shi Qing and Ye Guangdao on the side also showed a bit of contempt. The two of them are also the most powerful core disciples in this section. Ye Guangdao is even the direct disciple of the old man Guangdao. Naturally, they looked down on Xiaoxian, the new student. Why doesn't that witch show up yet? Is it possible that you are playing another trick? This little slut, just looking at her makes me want to press her down on my crotch. Ye Guangdao looked around. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 733. Snort. Hearing Ye Guangdao's words, Shi Qing also nodded slightly, obviously not wanting to see Mensu. It would be best if she didn't come. However, even if she comes, our Xianming sect is bound to get this Tianlong broken bone. Compared to Ye Guangdao and Shi Qing, Wu Sheng's attitude was very clear. He licked his lips and said, if anyone stops our Xianming sect, don't blame us for being ruthless. It seems like this little witch is really famous, isn't she? Xiaoxian was somewhat surprised. You must know that among the trial disciples present, each one can enter the Qinglian Valley. Naturally, they are undoubtedly the elite disciples in the sect. Under such circumstances, the fact that he attaches so much importance to this witch is enough to show that this Mensu must have extraordinary strength. He. It turns out that everyone is already here. I was worried that if no one else is here this time, I will be lonely. While talking, in the dense forest in the distance, there was a sudden sound of laughter like silver bells. A warm red sedan carried by 4 people appeared. Xiaoxian noticed that the 4 strong men carrying the sedan had pale faces, dull eyes, and stiff movements. They were obviously confused by something. Boom. At this time, a big man walking in front suddenly stumbled and the sedan tilted. Waste. What's the use of raising you all these years? In an instant, Mensu, who had been smiling just now, suddenly changed her expression, and 4 silver flying knives appeared. It penetrated the eyebrows of 4 strong men. The 4 strong men didn't even have time to react. Scarlet blood flowed from their foreheads, and then they fell softly to the ground. See this? Even Xiaoxian frowned slightly. According to Mensu, these 4 strong men should be the guards who have been following him for many years, but now, they just made a little mistake and were killed by her directly. It can be seen how vicious this woman Mensu is. Humph, still so vicious. Ye Guangdao was also speechless. Hey, isn't this brother Guangdao? Look, there are no people carrying the sedan chair now. Otherwise, brother Guangdao will feel aggrieved. Isn't this the case with brother Shi Qing? Although people don't like his dead face, they can still barely accept it. Mensu said with a smile, and brother Wu Sheng, if brother Wu Sheng is willing to carry the sedan for others, they can also give their bodies to you. Ha ha ha. Say this. Xiaoxian couldn't help but frown secretly, not because of Mensu's seductive words, but because of the reaction of the person she was teasing. Judging from the situation introduced by Chen Meng before. Needless to say, Shi Qing and Ye Guangdao were both powerful core disciples in their respective sects. Wu Sheng is even known as the number 1 among the younger generation in Mingzhou territory. Although, judging from the actual situation, he is not the number 1 saint son of Xianming sect, and his strength is probably not the number 1. But it has to be said. Wu Sheng is definitely one of the top people in Mingzhou domain. Now, such a person can swallow his anger in the face of Mensu's ridicule, which is enough to prove that Mensu is by no means a person who lives up to his reputation. What's going on? Looking at it like this, Mensu seems to be the number one person in the Mingzhou territory. She can control so many beautiful girls in the sky. Isn't she too awesome? Xiao Xian couldn't help but said, besides, why do these people look like they don't care about being teased at all? If there are too many lice, don't be afraid of them. This little coquettish fox has always been like this, so naturally no one cares. Meng Xiaoli was a little disdainful. After a while, Mensu's attention was instead focused on Xiao Xian. After walking over with a smile, she covered her red lips with her beautiful hands. There is a new guy from Qinghua Academy. This handsome guy is better than that pervert Bai Feng too much. That guy Bai Feng always looks lewd whenever he sees someone. You are much stronger than him. But, he is just a little weak in strength. It seems that he is just at the high level of the spiritual god realm. I'm afraid it's a bit dangerous here. Then I won't bother you to worry. Xiao Xian raised his head and pointed to the small island in the middle of the lake with a smile, but since everyone is here, let's discuss how to allocate the opportunities of the Dragon Leap land. Everyone also set their sights on the island in the middle of the lake in the distance. Distribution? When will it be the turn of your Qinghua Academy people to intervene in the distribution of Qinglian Valley? Wu Sheng sneered, our Xianming sect hasn't spoken yet, why do we need you to meddle in other people's business? Wu Sheng, don't bully others too much. This time in the Green Lotus Valley trial, a broken bone of a heavenly dragon appears. We, the Golden Sword sect, will never give in. Ye Guangdao stood up, his face ashen. Shi Qing, who was standing next to him, also nodded slightly, obviously approving of it. In front of everyone, Shi Qing still took the initiative to get closer to Ye Guangdao. It was obvious that the two families planned to form an alliance. You think that if you two sects form an alliance, you can be our Xianming sect's opponent? It's really ridiculous. Instead, Wu Sheng's eyes showed a bit of fanaticism. The true nature of a martial arts idiot is revealed in an instant. What if we include others? Couldn't brother Wu Sheng be more compassionate? Mensu also stood over with a smile on her face. It looks like it. Are you planning to deal with my Xianming sect together? Wu Sheng narrowed his eyes, so, you still think highly of us? It's really interesting, but, what's the attitude of Qinghua Academy? Wu Sheng's words also made everyone focus on Xiao Xian. Although it was their first time to see Xiao Xian, they could also tell that Xiao Xian was already the leader of Qinghua Academy. Well, there are some things that I may not be able to decide. Xiao Xian smiled slightly. You may not know that the leader of our college was originally Bai Feng, but after his death, Qinghua College was leaderless, so I, a high-level person in the spiritual god realm, took over. So, your Qinghua Academy has no intention of competing for the broken bones of the heavenly dragon, Ye Guangdao said bluntly. If this is the case, you should retreat quickly. It would be a bit disingenuous to say there was no intention to compete. I'm afraid no one will like these treasures of heaven, materials, and earth, but there is a problem: who can get them? Xiao Xian continued. What's the use of saying all this in a fog? Now that our three families are facing off against the Xianming sect, do you want to join? Ye Guangdao interrupted impatiently. Little brother, do you want to start a new business? Mensu Xiaomei frowned slightly. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 734. Say it in one sentence. Instantly, the eyes of everyone present became a little more hostile. At this moment, with one more enemy, there is more danger. Ye Guangdao, Shi Qing and Mensu have to huddle together to keep warm. if Xiao Xian is so ignorant of himself. On the contrary, there will be many dangers. Before that, I want to ask Wu Sheng, are you a dark sect? Xiao Xian did not answer Mensu's words, but looked at Wu Sheng. 3 years ago, was it your Xianming sect that killed many people from the savage tribe? At this time, people from other sects were a little confused. On the contrary, Anda behind him seemed to feel something and looked at Xiao Xian gratefully. What dark sect? How can we in the Xianming sect kill savages when we practice martial arts? Wu Sheng was stunned for a moment, and then said, even if you want to kill, there is no need to come to Qinglian Valley to kill. You don't want to put all the shit on our Xianming sect's head. Isn't it? Xiao Xian frowned slightly. Nonsense, do I need to lie to you about these words? Wu Sheng seemed a little impatient. Xiao Xian, what is your attitude? Argenteo and Xianming sect are irreconcilable opponents. Do you have other plans today? Ye Guangdao stood up, his face gloomy. See this scene. Xiao Xian was a little confused. He felt that there seemed to be some conspiracy brewing. You are at odds with each other, what does it have to do with me? Xiao Xian didn't care. You. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, Ye Guangdao's face was filled with shock for a moment, and he looked at him with an incredulous look. He suddenly figured out something and sneered, I see, you also want to get the Tianlong bone broken bones. You are really brave. Humph, young people don't know the heights of the world. Shi Qing also expressed disdain. He, I think it's a bit interesting. Maybe this young master Xiao Xian can really bring us surprises. Mensu looked at Xiao Xian with affectionate expressions on her face. She was a beautiful woman with a slim waist, long legs, and fair skin. At this time, her affectionate look attracted the attention of many other male disciples of the sect. However, these disciples were quickly reprimanded by the leaders of their own sects. I heard that the broken bones of the heavenly dragon are a supreme treasure. I'm not talented, but I really want to compete for you. Xiao Xian admitted generously, don't you have any interest in such a treasure? He didn't answer anyone else's questions. Instead, they asked such a question, which made Ye Guangdao feel awkward. After all, their purpose was exactly the same as Xiao Xian's. The same is to snatch the broken bones of Tianlong. However, in front of so many people, he still had to bear a name targeting the Xianming sect. It would also sound better this way. Who knew that the most upright person now would become a newcomer Xiao Xian? Doesn't this make them look shameless? Thinking of this, everyone had sneers on their faces, and Ye Guangdao said directly, Xiao Xian, you don't hide your thoughts, but do you know that if you want to get something, you need to have a match, strength? Do you think you have this strength? Why not? Xiao Xian, on the other hand, didn't care. When things have reached this stage, there are some things that there seems to be no need to hide. Isn't it that the purpose of coming here is to break the bones of Tianlong? Speaking of which, there was a bit of embarrassment among the elite disciples. In the end, Shi Qing sneered and said, the Tianlong bones are indeed precious. It is understandable that junior brother Xiao Xian has such thoughts. However, if you think that you have become the leader of Qinghua Academy, you are qualified to compete with us. Then what do you think? It's still a bit simple. He. Shi Qing, you are still so hypocritical after all this time. Don't you just want to recruit Xiao Xian to join the gang and target our Xianming sect together? You seem to have to find a high-sounding reason for such a shameless thing. Don't you feel ashamed? It's really ridiculous. Wu Sheng sneered, and then looked at Xiao Xian with interest. Junior brother Xiao Xian, if that's the case, otherwise, if we cooperate, each of us will get half of the heavenly dragon bones. Say it. Ye Guangdao, Shi Qingmensu and others suddenly became a little anxious. Although they have never seen Xiao Xian's true strength, The fact that Xiao Xian became the leader of King Hua Academy after Bai Feng's death is enough to prove that his strength should not be underestimated. Even if we can't be allies, we definitely shouldn't be enemies. From this point of view, they cannot just wait for Xiao Xian and Wu Sheng to join forces. After all, one Wu Sheng is enough to give them a headache. Coupled with Xiao Xian, isn't the other party even more powerful? Half. No, what I want is, all of it. That's it. Xiao Xian had no need to hide it. If he wants to advance the Shenlong Kung Fu, the heavenly dragon bone broken bones are necessary materials. He himself doesn't know how much material is needed for the Shenlong Kung Fu. To be sure, he would naturally not choose to share it equally with others. In this situation, he had no intention of being polite to others. However, when he spoke like this, it naturally caused thousands of waves. Even Wang Tai and Meng Xiaoli couldn't help being secretly surprised. They were considered people who had seen Xiao Xian's strength. But despite this, they couldn't believe that Xiao Xian could make such a decision. With one person's power, he can fight against all the sedan chairs in the Mingzhou territory. Could it be that he regards everyone else as incompetent? Interesting. I didn't expect you to make such a choice. In that case, don't blame me for being rude to you. Ye Guangdao laughed in anger. He is the perfect spiritual and spiritual realm. At this moment, even if Bai Feng stood in front of him, he would not dare to speak to him like this, let alone actively reject the alliance. Now he took the initiative to extend an olive branch to Xiao Xian. He has been given enough face, but who knew that he would be so shameless? Isn't this humiliating his face in public? Everyone has his or her own ambitions, so don't force them. I just ask you not to regret it when the time comes. Our righteous path does not lack you, and similarly, Xianming sect does not lack you. Shi Qing touched his stone-like face and said, Celestial dragon bone broken bones are not something you can get easily with just a few words. I feel that this little brother is very interesting. If my little brother is willing to sleep with me, I will also be willing to search for the Tianlong bones with you, and, I won't take any money, how about that? Mensu licked her red lips, her eyes charming. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 735. There are several sect leaders taking the lead. Other disciples in the sect also ridiculed Xiao Xian. He. You have time to be sarcastic here, why not take a look at the island in the middle of the lake? Do you think anyone can go to this place? To these cynicism. Xiao Xian didn't pay attention at all. After all, Tenlong would never be as knowledgeable as an ant, and he would not waste time on these people. What's the meaning? This time, even the Wang Tai next to him was a little surprised. Can't we accompany you in? What if something unexpected happens there? Xiao Xian did not respond to him. I just walked to the lake, gently broke a branch, and gently put it into the lake water, but the branch sank without even holding on for a second. This. With such light buoyancy, how should we get to the island in the middle of the lake? It's unbelievable. Is it possible that we have to rely on the power of the great Dao? This is too difficult. After Xiao Xian's experiment was completed, the people next to him also looked very shocked. Obviously, he didn't expect that there would be such a restriction in this lake. I'll see if I can fly over. A young disciple seemed to have a summoning spiritual pet. After summoning his spiritual pet, he planned to fly over from the air. But this spiritual pet has just arrived above the lake. As if he was drunk, he staggered and fell down. It was better that the fellow student next to him reacted quickly and grabbed him, otherwise the unlucky guy would have fallen into the lake. What's the situation? If I remember correctly, ordinary lake water should not have such a strong attraction. Does this mean there are other restrictions or formations in the lake? At this time, the leaders of several sects were also a little embarrassed. Just now, they were fighting over the broken bones of Tianlong. Who knows, let alone fighting for the Tianlong bone broken bones, even entering the lake will be a problem. For a moment, everyone in the right way looked at each other. There was a look of embarrassment on his face. Wu Sheng, on the other hand, smiled, looked at everyone, and said with a bit of pride on his face, "This lake is the legendary Zhuiming Lake. It's normal that you can't enter." Zhuiming Lake? How do you know? Ye Guangdao was stunned. "Why should I tell you?" Wu Sheng shook his head with contempt on his face. Wu Sheng, don't be too arrogant. Even though you are the elite saint son of Xianming sect, you are not invincible. Look at today, can you beat 1 against 3? Ye Guangdao was already very angry after being stabbed by Xiao Xian just now. "We don't mind joining forces to solve your problem before entering the island in the middle of the lake." Although what he said was shameless. But I have to say it is really effective. The combination of Ye Guangdao, Shi Qing and Mensu is indeed a great threat to Wu Sheng. Not only can they kill him 100% directly, but they can also make him have no energy to participate in the next battle for the Tianlong bone broken bones. This is why the three of them are willing to cooperate. If I were you, I would choose cooperation over competition. Wu Sheng was confident. After all, don't you really think that after entering the island in the middle of the lake, you can easily get the Tianlong bones? He said this. Everyone's faces looked a little uncertain. There are indeed a lot of troubles and challenges in the Qinglian Valley. From the various monsters in the dense forest to the lake of despair in front of them, they are really worried about what dangers there are in the land of Dragon Leap. No bottom. But now, let's see what Wu Sheng means. Seems like he knows something unusual. Wanting to understand this, Xiao Xian's face became a little more curious. "From what you say, it seems that you have news about Longjio land. You are not telling it on purpose, right? What kind of power did you get? Mensu, what kind of virgin are you pretending to be? Are you not interested in the power of Qinglian? Don't you want to get some power of Qinglian?" Ye Guangdao sneered. "Not interested." Xiao Xian couldn't help but look back. Mensu didn't take Ye Guangdao seriously at all. But at this time, Ye Guangdao, Shi Qing and others looked a little embarrassed, as if there were some things they didn't want to mention. Wu Sheng said, "Besides, for so long, don't you know that some power is definitely not so easy to obtain, right?" But after hearing the last sentence, her face suddenly darkened. Looking at sister, it seems that she still has some thoughts on this matter. "How else can we pass the test and see if you are qualified, sister?" Mensu flipped up her hair and chuckled. Originally, Mensu still had a smile on her face. "Mensu, don't talk about these useless things, talk about your power of Qinglian." "Of course not." He naturally understood the first sentence, but he felt a little confused about the latter sentence. Hear these words. A pair of loving eyes looked at Xiao Xian infatuatedly, and she really had a crush on him. "What do you mean?" After being interrupted by Long Ruoxiu, Mensu's pretty face showed a bit of disgust, and then she smiled again. "Is it possible that you and I have fallen in love with the same man? My sister is also good looking, otherwise we would work together." Kazuo. Ahem. Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but interrupt. "In your current situation, if you don't have enough strength, I'm afraid Xiao Xian will look down on you, a slut. Isn't it just some Qinglian power from the Qinglian Valley? You want to take it for yourself, but you find that you don't have the ability. What's wrong? He has not been in Qinglian Valley for a short time, and it seems that he has not gained any strength. What does it mean that power is not easily obtained?" It turned out to be Long Ruoxiu's life. Xiao Xian was a little stunned. "Whose pretty girl is this?" "Pooh. Hey. I am just a little girl, not a rough fool like you." I just want to find a good husband and live a stable life. I think, my brother Xiao Xian is pretty good, he. However, from what Wu Sheng said, it seemed that the rest of them had gained some power that did not belong to them. Who wants to be a husband with a slutty fox like you? It's just that what I want to tell you is that if you spend too much energy here, the dragon bones will not be obtained casually. After Mensu finished speaking, her body was like lightning and she came straight towards Long Ruoxiu. A fierce wind appeared instantly. Long Ruoxiu's face turned red at the same time, and she spat at Mensu angrily. If a woman like you has the right to say this. There's nothing more to say. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 736. What a drastic measure. See Mensu take action. Even Ye Kuangfeng and Shi Qing were a little surprised. In a sense, both of them are Mensu's allies, but you know very well that this ally is only a literal meaning. Maybe Mensu would fall out at some point. But this did not make them have much emotional change. After all, in their hearts, Mensu was a woman who was good at charm techniques and had average actual combat ability. Not even as good as Bai Feng. But now, they were really surprised. Mensu's powerful attack was as powerful as Ye Kuangdao, who was good at attacking. Faced with such an attack, even Shi Qing must be on guard. It's interesting. It seems that this woman Mensu made a lot of preparations before entering the Qinglian Valley, Ye Kuangdao said. Even I have to be careful when facing this move, Shi Qing said in a muffled voice. Why, is it difficult for brother Shi Qing to resist? Ye Kuangdao was stunned, a little unbelievable. It's not that hard to resist. However, it still takes a little effort to fully compete. Shi Qing finished speaking in one breath, not bothering to pay attention. He had seen the strength of the people in King Hua Academy before, which was around the peak of the spiritual god realm. Even Xiao Xian's strength is at the high level of the spiritual god realm. Nothing to fear at all. Therefore, the end result of this beautiful woman with a long mouth is probably not very good, and she may die on the spot. Well done. Seeing Mensu's fierce attack, Xiao Xian sneered instead. Fortunately, he had expected it. He knew that a woman like Mensu would do it. It seems like something a little unusual. Flying Mark Claw, Second Claw, Dragon Claw. A move in Xiao Xian's hand changed. The cyan palm swung out mysteriously, arriving first and catching Mensu's wrist directly before her palm landed on Long Ruoxiu. Under the suppression of the powerful power of the avenue, Mensu's power soon dissipated. Later, Mensu was easily controlled by Xiao Xian. However, what Xiao Xian didn't expect was that the next second this woman got directly into his arms. Lie down. What are you going to do? For the sudden nephrite fragrance. Xiao Xian wants to say that he is not moved at all, which is naturally false, but now, there is a Long Ruoxiu in front of him who is eyeing him eagerly. He would have to be more honest. Brother, I think you don't have a girlfriend, otherwise you would accept her, right? Mensu was a little surprised when Xiao Xian subdued her with one move, but then she said softly. Maybe not. What I want to say is that you and I don't seem to be from the same world. Xiao Xian made a pun. Not to mention that he already has a love debt, and now it is impossible to provoke these romantic catastrophes. Even if he did, he would not provoke a woman like Mensu. How? Do you think I'm a loose woman? Mensu laughed. Don't you men just like women like this? Why, are you embarrassed? It's not true. In my opinion, Miss Mensu, there is absolutely no need for you to be like this. You shouldn't be a real slutty woman, right? Just had some contact. Xiao Xian felt something different. He discovered that Mensu, who was in his arms at the moment, did not really seem to be a slutty woman. Instead, she had a virgin fragrance on her body. You are the first man to say that. It's quite surprising. Mensu's eyes flashed with light, and then she said with a smile, so, will you like her? Well, if you can help me get the Tianlong bones, I don't mind having one more woman. Xiao Xian smiled slyly. One more, Mensu's face darkened. Of course, if you don't want to, forget it, I won't force you, Xiao Xian said directly. What if I am willing? Mensu's answer was unexpected. Can you agree to this condition? Xiao Xian was even more surprised and looked at Mensu in disbelief. That's a deal. I'll help you find the Tianlong broken bones, and you'll be my man. After Mensu finished speaking, she walked out of Xiao Xian's arms, and then said, what I want to say today is that today is the most meaningful day in my 20 years. The words were spoken quietly. Only Xiao Xian heard it. But at this moment, his face was full of surprise. Seeing Mensu getting up as if nothing had happened, and finally smiling slightly at Xiao Xian, for a moment, he was a little at a loss. The most profound meaning? When did meaning become so important? Judging from the fact that Mensu is a woman, she should also be a person who values strength and strength. Why is it that now, she still cares about meaning? Watch Mensu leave. Long Ruoxiu and others were surprised. I don't know why the two people who were at war with each other just now seem to have reconciled in the blink of an eye. What's going on with you? Didn't we still fight just now? Why is it like this now? Did you just reach an agreement? Long Ruoxiu couldn't help but ask. Forget it. What can I do? Can I allow such a beautiful woman to make an agreement with me? Xiao Xian felt a little guilty. Long Ruoxiu was obviously not particularly satisfied with Xiao Xian's explanation. She felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't figure out what was wrong for a while. Snored. I hope you didn't lie to me. Do not know why. Seeing Xiao Xian and Mensu approaching, Long Ruoxiu felt a little uncomfortable instead, as if something important had been taken away from her. What are you going to do? Looking at you, it seems that you have an unusual relationship with Mensu. Are you planning to cooperate with the Snow Wolf sect? Wang Tai asked. To cooperate with Mensu is a dangerous move for the army. I didn't think so much, Xiao Xian said helplessly. Humph, I think he just thought that the girl was good looking, so he decided to seek cooperation with her. That's probably the case. Meng Xiaoli's face became a little more suspicious. Do you think that's the case? Senior Sister Meng, you really misunderstood. How could I have such a thought? Didn't I say it? The most important purpose of coming to Qinglian Valley this time is to find the broken bones of the heavenly dragon. As for other things, just let things go. Xiao Xian explained seriously. So, or is there really something else? The focus of Meng Xiaoli and Long Ruoxiu gave Xiao Xian a headache. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 737. The battle between Xiao Xian and Meng Shui was thunderous and rainy. For a moment, it made Ye Guangdao and Shi Qing next to them a little uneasy. Originally, if Mensu joined their righteous path, the three sects would naturally become the most powerful party if they unite. But now Mensu and Xiao Xian cooperate. Wu Sheng alone is equivalent to a force. Now, not only were they at a disadvantage in their right path, but without Mensu joining them, they were somewhat at a disadvantage. Mensu, have you thought about it? You actually chose to cooperate with Xiao Xian. Ye Guangdao was a little anxious. Otherwise, you two, one is a stupid strong man, and the other is paralyzed by stone. No one is willing to cooperate with you. Mensu said nonchalantly, I'm not interested in Tianlong broken bones anyway. You don't need Tianlong broken bones, So you can't cooperate with Xiaoxian, right? Their Qinghua Academy is so powerful, what can you get by cooperating with them? Ye Guangdao still wanted to persuade. No need to say more. If someone wants to do something, you don't need to meddle in it. Without waiting for Ye Guangdao to say anything more, Mensu walked directly to Xiaoxian with Yingying Yanyan behind her. Then, he looked at the latter with a charming look. Seeing this, everyone in Qinghua Academy showed thoughtful expressions. They seemed to understand Mensu's purpose for a moment. Look at it like this. Mensu's target is actually Xiaoxian? Rely on Hu cooperation? It still depends on the man's appearance. This made everyone in Qinghua College feel a little embarrassed. For a moment, the eyes looking at Xiaoxian were a little strange. Do you want it to look like this? After all, we are also for Tianlong broken bones. Even if we have to sacrifice something, it is acceptable, isn't it? Xiaoxian explained helplessly. What's wrong? Is it possible that you suffered a lot when going to Lake Center Island with others? In front of all the disciples of Qinghua Academy, Mensu smiled brightly and said, you don't have the ability to help Xiaoxian yourself, why don't you let others help? Isn't it a bit funny? You. Mensu, don't go too far. Long Ruoxiu's face darkened. Although she didn't want to admit it, there was nothing wrong with what Mensu said now. Xiaoxian really needed strong help if he wanted to get the Tianlong bone broken bones. This helps. Except for Mensu, none of them could give it. Hey. Everyone, please stop quarreling. This is all about Tianlong broken bones and the opportunity of Qinglian Valley, so don't quarrel with each other. Xiaoxian smiled apologetically and said, win-win cooperation, win-win cooperation. Snored. He. Seeing the appearance of Long Ruoxiu and Mensu, Xiaoxian was also helpless. Does he know that these two women are not easy to use? If they really want to fight, let alone him, even if Branch Dean Wu Meng appears, they will not be able to deal with them. That's all. You don't need to say more. I think you should be very happy to have this woman helping you, right? Seemingly seeing Xiaoxian's embarrassment, Long Ruoxiu said directly, if we can really get the Tianlong bones, this would be a good thing. Also, Wu Sheng seemed to have some things he didn't say before. He said he wanted to cooperate. It seems he still has the confidence to cooperate. Let's listen to what he has to say first. Seeing that Long Ruoxiu was no longer tit for tat, Mensu also said, I suspect that Wu Sheng has the means to enter the island in the middle of the lake. Ah! How, did you make a guess? Xiaoxian listened. He couldn't help but frown slightly. Before, when he saw Mensu deliberately acting dissolute, he also knew that this woman was definitely not as simple as she appeared. But he was more curious. What is this woman's trump card? What else do you know? Xiaoxian couldn't help but ask. I feel that compared to Wu Sheng, you seem to have a lot of trump cards. Who among the leaders who can come here does not have a trump card? Mensu responded, although Ye Guangdao is a rough guy, in fact, his sword skills are very delicate, and the stone man Shi Qing, who is dressed in stone, it must not be underestimated. I heard that you are better at charm, Xiaoxian asked tentatively. That's just a side theory. Xiao Xuanyu didn't know what to say. This is naturally the best thing for Ye Guangdao and Shi Qing. What are the conditions? Shi Qing rarely speaks, but every time he speaks, he hits the nail on the head. Therefore, he was happy to see something like this happen. Okay, I admit, I feel that you may be the biggest winner in Qinglian Valley this time. Even so, I think you haven't tried your best, Xiaoxian asked reluctantly, don't you want to explain? Wu Sheng also smiled, how about such conditions? Even if he was suspicious, he didn't know where to start. At best, it was unreliable. There are things in the island in the middle of the lake that our Xianming sect cannot handle. Explain what? Under Xiao Xian's eyes, Mensu also felt a little embarrassed, and simply said directly, "You have an inexplicable temperament about you. No one else has this kind of temperament, so I decided it was you." Temperament. Give up Tianlongbone broken bones. I promise. Why do you want to cooperate with me? Cooperate? Then this thing should be in their pocket. Wu Sheng smiled. Our Xianming sect has a way to cross Zhuiming Lake. If you are willing, I can take you to the island in the middle of the lake. Mensu shook her head. However, I was defeated by you just now, wasn't it? So to say. Temperament is something that cannot be seen or touched. You look handsome. If we cooperate, I can also give up the broken bones of the heavenly dragon. I want, the dragon of Xianming. If you have anything to say, just say it directly. Don't think that our two sects can't do anything to your Xianming section, Ye Guangdao sneered. When fighting on the battlefield, sometimes we still have to rely on hard power. Among the current 5 major sects, the Snow Wolf sect and the Xianming sect have given up on the Tianlong broken bone at the same time. Only the Shillong sect, the Golden Blade sect and the Qinghua Academy have the intention to compete for it. If this is the result, it is really beyond my expectation. Wu Sheng also saw clearly what happened just now. The righteous way did not unite, which was naturally a good thing for him. After I say this condition, you will give up dealing with me. Qinghua Academy, with Xiao Xian as the leader, has nothing to fear at all, if Wu Sheng is really willing to give up the fight for the Tianlong bones. In both of their minds. Okay, now that you explain it like this, I have nothing to say. Has your Qinghua Academy cooperated with the Snow Wolf sect? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 738. Brother Shiqing, what do you think? To be honest, the purpose of our Golden Blade sect's trip to the Qinglian Valley is the legendary broken bones of the heavenly dragon. Ye Guangdao's eyes flickered. I think it would be a good thing if Wu Sheng is willing to cooperate. I wonder what Brother Shiqing thinks. Regarding Ye Guangdao's confession, Shiqing's eyes looked a little strange. The reason was very simple. The purpose of their Shillong sect coming to Qinglian Valley was the same as that of the Golden Knife sect, which was to break the bones of the heavenly dragon. If Xianming sect and Snow Wolf sect really give up the fight, then Golden Blade sect is their biggest enemy. As for Qinghua Academy, it was simply a sect that was not even qualified to compete and was not taken seriously by him at all. Good. But, Brother Crazy Blade, is this martial victory reliable? Things have come to this point. On the surface, Shiqing still had no objection. If Wu Sheng does something about it, wouldn't we sects be fooled by him? Brother Shi, don't worry. Let's keep a close eye on him. If this guy dares to play tricks, we will both capture him at the same time. Ye Guangdao sneered and said confidently, Brother Shiqing, don't worry, this time, I brought the snake blood golden sword given by the master. Even Wu Sheng is not that bold. After hearing this, the latter's face was obviously a little more moved. Snake blood golden knife. It is said that this is the most precious treasure in the golden sword section. It was with this sword that the old man of the golden sword understood the way of the golden sword and escaped into the blue god realm. With such a treasure bonus, coupled with his own strength trump card, maybe the two of them can fight Wu Sheng. What is Brother Shiqing going to do? If you have no other plans, why not just follow me, brother? Seeing Shiqing's heartbeat, Ye Guangdao felt determined and continued, I am willing to believe that as long as we cooperate, the broken bones of the dragon that day will definitely be in your and my brother's pocket. Hearing this, Shiqing also nodded slightly. He knows. At this moment, choosing to cooperate with Ye Guangdao may be the best way. Wu Sheng sighed. I saw Shiqing and Ye Guangdao conspiring. He also sneered, and he also understood that at this moment, the two of them probably had no other ideas. I wonder how the two of you discussed it? To be honest, maybe trusting me is your only choice. Wu Sheng is very confident. After all, it doesn't rely on the space magic weapon in his hand. The leaders of these sects cannot even get close to the island in the middle of the lake. Of course, he also had his own selfish reasons for doing this. If the fifth-level monster on the island in the center of the lake was not too difficult, he would never have been able to bring so many opponents to the island in the center of the lake. Look like this. Ye Guangdao and Shiqing will probably cooperate. By the lake, Mensu looked at Xiao Xian with a smile on her face. I think people generally know what you think. What do you know? Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel helpless. Do you know your next plan? Mensu said with a matter-of-fact expression. You are so actively looking for the Tianlong broken bones. I think this thing must have a special effect or special meaning for you, right? Isn't this normal? Look at Shiqing and Ye Guangdao, they just have their desires written on their faces. Aren't they also breaking the bones of Tianlong? Xiao Xian shook his head. On the contrary, you have something wrong. You said you are not interested in Tianlong broken bones, so, doesn't it mean that you are interested in other things? Otherwise, why would you bother to come to Qinglian Valley? It's just that, to cause trouble for yourself? Impossible, right? Having said this, he also had a bit of curiosity on his face, wanting to see how Mensu would respond to this matter. What do you mean? Is it possible that you still doubt people's sincerity towards you? Mensu pretended to be affectionate. I fell deeply in love with you when I first saw you. Do you still doubt me? Isn't this too sad? Haha, why are you so sad? Xiao Xian was non-committal. Is this love at first sight? A girl's romance? Mensu looked infatuated. Haha, Xiao Xian shook his head. They helped you find the broken bones of the heavenly dragon. Why don't you thank them? It would be great if you could give me your own consent, Mensu said, holding Xiao Xian's arm tightly. I felt a warmth on my arm. Even though Xiao Xian was thick-skinned, he was a little embarrassed for a while. Mensu was seen leaning directly on Xiao Xian's arm, her white and soft skin almost sticking to his body. Ouch, I didn't expect you to take advantage of others. Mensu looked shy and quickly pulled up her clothes to block the spring light in front of her. You. Xiao Xian felt dizzy for a while. When he turned around, he saw that the other sect disciples present looked envious, jealous, and hateful, as if Xiao Xian had taken away his treasure. This is so cute. In Xiao Xian's heart, 10,000 grass and mud horses galloped past. If he really took advantage, he would admit it when faced with these knife-like looks. But just now, he didn't even have time to enjoy it. He was taken back by Mensu. It was indeed a bit unfair for him to take advantage of him. What's the situation? Look at you, you look aggrieved. Do you still feel aggrieved by taking advantage of others? After seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, Mensu said with a smile, look, everyone knows about our relationship now. No matter how much you argue, no one will believe it. What are you going to do? I don't seem to have anything I can do. Xiao Xian shook his head helplessly. So, just listen to me honestly and do as I say, and we will snatch the broken bones of the heavenly dragon together. Mensu followed the instructions. But until now, I don't know what your purpose is. You won't tell me that your purpose is just to help me, right? Xiao Xian is not a child either. Naturally, I would not think that Mensu, as a talented cultivator of the sect and a person like the Pride of Heaven, would definitely help him just after meeting him once. Perhaps, this Mensu has other purposes. He could understand that. Even if possible, it is not impossible for both parties to achieve mutual benefit and win-win results. What I want, could Mr. Xiao Xian really be able to give it to me? A hint of cunning flashed in Mensu's eyes. If you can help me, I'll do it myself. Xiao Xian didn't say too much. I need to. Crystallization from snow mountains. Mensu said seriously. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 739. Snow Mountain Crystal? Xiao Xian frowned slightly and immediately connected to the system. Ever since he came to Daodao continent, he has known that in this world, the system is almost like an encyclopedia. Whenever he has questions, the system can explain them to him. Soon, the system gave him an explanation. It turned out that the Snow Mountain crystal was not a valuable item, and it did not have much effect on cultivation. Its only function is to heal. It can remove the poison of snow and cold from the cultivator. This made Xiao Xian a little curious. He had heard of some magical healing medicine before. But I have never heard of Snow Mountain crystals. But now, according to the system, this Snow Mountain crystal is actually a healing tool. Did Mensu come here all the way to heal himself? Are you poisoned by the snow cold? Xiao Xian suddenly asked Mensu. If I remember correctly, the Snow Wolf Valley is far away on the top of the mountain. It is a bitter cold place. The disciples among them should have adapted to the snow long ago. Han, why are you still poisoned? How do you know? Hearing Xiao Xian's words, Mensu was obviously stunned for a moment, a little unbelievable, but the next second she shook her head with a wry smile, having said that, it's just that my physique is poor. For such a long time, instead of adapting to the cold snow, I have suffered greatly from it. As a result, snow and cold entered the body, and his life was short-lived. What? That's not true, is it? Originally Xiao Xian didn't care much. But when he heard the last sentence, he was stunned and couldn't help but look at Mensu carefully. The impression Mensu had left on him before was that although this woman was good-looking and beautiful, she regarded other people's lives as nothing but grass. She was a veritable rose with thorns. But now it seems. The situation doesn't seem to be that simple. Mensu is already dead? Are you telling the truth? Xiao Xian's face became serious. After such a long period of contact, he really didn't find any signs of illness on Mensu. Is it necessary to lie about this kind of thing? Mensu shook her head. But, it does sound a bit unbelievable. Xiao Xian frowned slightly. If what Mensu said is true, he is also a poor person. Are you doing it because of what happened before that I killed the bearer? Have a problem with me? Mensu Bingxiu was smart. Seeing Xiao Xian's slightly hesitant expression, she quickly guessed what he was thinking. This is your sec's own business, I can't control it, Xiao Xian said in his heart. It would be strange to say that he has no objection to killing someone for no apparent reason. Actually, they are all sin slaves of our Snow Wolf section. Everyone has blood on their hands. They bully women. In the fish and meat village, there are all evil people who do all kinds of evil. Mensu still explained, they are all sinners that my master captured a few years ago and prepared to kill directly. I see. So, by killing those people just now, you were considered doing harm to the people. Xiao Xian was stunned. He really didn't expect such a thing to happen, and continued to ask, why do you find so many sinners to serve you? Don't you know that these people are dangerous? What if there are people with evil intentions? Don't worry. After these people were caught, they were all under the spell of our Snow Wolf section. They had no memories, no emotions, no desires. It can be said that they were already lifeless wooden people. The Snow Wolf sect has quite a lot of tricks. Xiao Xian's heart skipped a beat. Fortunately, he didn't provoke this woman Mensu too much. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't even know how to die. Even if I die, it will be better than being made into a puppet. Don't worry, I like you so much, I will never use this method to deal with you. Mensu looked at Xiao Xian with a smile. Of course, the premise is that you must be obedient. Hearing this, Xiao Xian felt a chill instantly rise up. Co-author, this cooperation between him and Mensu, will there be so many dangers? Is it possible that if you are not careful, you may lose your life? If that's the case, that's really not worth the gain. Everyone. Moreover, facing a powerful 5th grade monster. Each of the trial disciples had some hesitation on their faces. Just go. Except for Xiao Xian and a few other leaders. Say it in one sentence. Humph, isn't it just a 5th grade monster? It is definitely not useful if there are many people. His smile was obvious because he wanted to see how many people dared to go to the island in the middle of the lake with him to compete with him for the dragon of the mysterious underworld. Xiao Xian felt it. 5th level. 5th level monster. That's exactly what I meant. Ye Guangdao took a step forward, carrying the snake blood golden sword. After such a long time, maybe that monster is dead. Treasures are important, but one's own life is more important. Facing Kang Shen level monsters, perhaps only top disciples like Wu Sheng, Ye Guangdao, Shi Qing and Meng Shui can participate. Is this a Kang Shen realm monster? Why does it appear here? As expected. The people present immediately started talking about it. Although my magical weapon is only at the Xian level, it can still lead more than a dozen people into the island in the middle of the lake. However, it depends on whether you have the courage. Isn't it the island in the middle of the lake? If you don't dare to go, I'll go and have a look. Xiao Xian stood up with a smile. I just want to see how powerful the 5th grade monster is. Could it be that this 5th level monster is here to guard the Tianlong broken bones? The difficulty of the trial in the Qinglian Valley is indeed extraordinary. I'm afraid it won't end well. After these words were spoken, there was a moment of silence. I'm not afraid either. Shi Qing followed closely. Even Chen Meng didn't bring it with him. If you have thought about it, come over. My skeleton magic weapon can take everyone to the island in the middle of the lake. Ordinary high-level or even peak cultivators of the spiritual god realm can enter. There were also some trial disciples at the peak of the spiritual god realm who came forward. There are so many of us, even if we are ants chewing elephants, we can still kill that monster, break the bones of the dragon into pieces, and maybe I can be a part of it. However, under Xiao Xian's request, no one from Qinghua Academy came forward. If you think about it, come over. Since all my men have gone, I will go and have a look. Staying here is boring anyway. Meng Suimei followed behind Xiao Xian with a smile. Wu Sheng looked at everyone and picked up a magic weapon that looked like a grey pagoda. However, those who are not strong enough should not come. My master, old man Xueming, said that there might be a 5th grade monster on the island in the middle of the lake. Many people looked at each other, and in the end no one took the initiative to speak. Wu Sheng looked around, with a teasing smile on his face. This trip to the island in the middle of the lake seemed to be more dangerous than he imagined, and he was afraid that he would die if he was not careful. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 740. No more. If there is no more, I will activate the teleportation array. Seeing the sparse 7 or 8 people in the formation, Wu Sheng couldn't help but shake his head and said regretfully, what a pity. With such a good opportunity, no one has the courage to go. Regarding his attitude, the disciples who were undergoing the trial not only had no intention of being moved, but instead took several steps back in unison. Joke. This time, they went to the most mysterious place called Dragon Leap in the Qinglian Valley. For such a long time, although there have been many disciples from various sects who have had opportunities in the Qinglian Valley. However, many people died accidentally in Qinglian Valley. Especially this time, I clearly know that there are 5th level monsters in the Dragon Leap land, so if I go there, aren't I looking for death? That's all. Since they don't have the guts, they can spend their whole lives cowardly. Ye Kwangdeo was disdainful. This time, there are broken bones of the heavenly dragon in the Dragon Leap land. Whoever gets it may not be able to step into the blue god realm. What he said did have some effect. Some hesitant disciples actually walked in 2 more. For these people, Xiao Xian felt a little sorry. Although opportunity was important, what was more important was that they also had enough cards and strength. Otherwise, no matter how good the opportunity is, if you don't have the strength to gain it, you can only suffer the consequences in the end. If you don't do it right, your life will be lost in this place. You only have one life. Compared with this situation, staying in the sect and cultivating honestly has become the best choice. Buzz. As Wu Sheng started the teleportation weapon, Xiao Xian and others felt a flash of light on their bodies, and then their bodies seemed to be drawn into a vortex. There is a tearing pain throughout the body. He quickly used his power to reduce the pulling force on his body as much as possible. Open your eyes again. It was discovered that he had arrived at the island in the center of the deadly lake, and at the same time, everyone around him had also arrived safely. This shows that Wu Sheng did not tamper with the magic weapon. Everyone also breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, Xiao Xian was polite. No need, as long as you don't regret it and complain about me bringing you here. Wu Sheng looked indifferent. Wu Sheng, you look down on us too much. Do you think our right way ability is so low? It's just a 5th grade monster. It's not like I haven't killed it before. Ye Kwangdeo is very confident. He once attacked a 5th grade monster with his master, the old man Jin Deo. Senior brother Ye is so brave. Senior brother Ye has really killed a 5th grade monster? If that's true, we would be much more relaxed. I don't know how senior brother Ye killed it. Can you give me some advice? Even with these leaders here, we may not be able to defeat a 5th grade monster. With Ye Kwangdeo's words, the faces of the group of trial disciples looked a little more eager. It can be said that the 5th grade monsters are all treasures. Even if they can't get the monster pills and essence, they can get the flesh and claws on their bodies, which will be of great benefit to their cultivation. However, compared to these trial disciples, Xiao Xian will be much calmer. He had seen the 4th grade monsters in the Qinglian Valley. In this area, the monsters were much stronger than in the outside world. I'm afraid that this 5th level monster will bring them huge trouble. I don't know, what kind of monster is this? Xiao Xian asked. Blood dragon ancestral ape, Wu Sheng said. What? How could there be such a thing? Wu Sheng, is what you said true? You can't just say it casually, right? I heard that ancient bloodline monsters of this level have been extinct long ago. Is there any chance that they still exist? Ye Kwangdeo. If this blood dragon ancestral ape has the blood of the ancestral ape, what happened to our Golden Blade sect? Ye Kwangdeo was unconvinced. Although this blood dragon ancestral ape only has a trace of ancient blood, maybe it will be more troublesome to fight. Think about whether your Golden Blade sect can get out of here alive today. Don't forget, this is the land of Dragon Leap. Mensu chuckled. Wu Sheng shook his head instead. You don't have to worry so much. Although this blood dragon ancestral ape has a trace of ancient bloodline, over time, it has been unable to exert the true power of the bloodline, so, its strength should still be around the 5th level. How? The disciples talked a lot. This time it is these leading disciples who will solve the biggest problem. Otherwise, do you think we can deal with 5th grade monsters with our strength? How about Xiao Xian, do you still need to say more? However, Xiao Xian is not so optimistic about their enthusiasm. He has seen Xiao Lu's ability before. The faces of the disciples next to him were a little solemn. Ye Kwangdeo's face turned pale. but knowing the information about the blood dragon ancestral ape, he felt even more pressure and seemed a little uneasy in his heart. He also noticed that among the disciples who came to Longioland this time, their golden sword sect had the most people. Mensu next to her sneered, "You have this time, why not think about your golden knife section?" Nonsense. I see why Brother Xiaoxian stopped talking. Is it possible that he is afraid? At first he was a little happy. For example, the Dragon Clan's tyrannical recovery ability, the Phoenix Clan's rebirth, the Kylan Clan's fighting ability. A 5th grade monster, a monster of this level is a very threatening existence no matter where it is placed. Everyone's face was somewhat excited. Hear this. He thought that with the large number of people, he could have some initiative in Longioland. It is said that if a monster awakens its ancient bloodline, not only will its strength be greatly enhanced, but its bloodline will also bring special abilities. When the time comes, a few leaders will take action and join us in strangling this monster, a trial disciple said. That's really a huge threat. Are you worrying a little too much? But no one knows to what extent this ancient bloodline has been awakened. If the blood dragon ancestral ape really awakens the ancient bloodline. I heard the trial disciples talking a lot. You. He didn't wait for Ye Guangdao to finish his words. As long as we work together, we will definitely be able to defeat this monster. Ye Guangdao was jealous of the alliance between Xiaoxian and Mensu. At this time, he also sneered and said to Suo Dao, if that's the case, it's really a bit funny.